What do I do now? Guys, it's my first YouTube video. This is crazy to me. I actually don't even know if I'm going to post this. Anyway, hi, I'm Emily. I was going to say if you're new here, but you're definitely new here. Unless you came from TikTok, in which case, because that's commitment. That is commitment, and I love you. So I thought I'd come here and as my first video, I talk through some book talk books that are popular and whether they are worth the hype. In my opinion, if I don't like a book and you love it, that's absolutely... If I don't like a book and you loved it, that's absolutely fine. And vice versa, if I love a book and you hated it, it's all opinions, isn't it? You know? So grab your beverage of choice. This is water because I'm boring like that, but you always need to drink water, guys. This is your reminder. Let's get into it. So I'm gonna pop the books here that I talk about. Although I've got most of them on my shelf, I have read some of them on my Kindle as well. So I thought it would be easier to just put pictures here of the books that I'm talking about. It's Quicksilver. I absolutely loved Quicksilver. Definitely recommend it. Absolutely obsessed. Actually can't wait for the next one to come out, which I believe is actually coming out really soon. I think it might be next month. So if you haven't read Quicksilver, get on that right now so that you're ready for the next one next month, because I'm so excited. But that was definitely a 5-star read for me. The next books that I wanted to talk about is a duology, and it is Phantasma and Enchantra. So many people were talking about these books. I had to pick them up, obviously, because FOMO. I didn't enjoy Phantasma as much as I enjoyed Enchantra. So I think that's an unpopular opinion though, because I feel like it's quite the other way around. So take that with a pinch of salt. However, these are interconnected standalones. So they're both set in the same world, just one is slightly after the other and about a different character. So yeah, definitely would recommend them because they were really good. I rated Phantasma 4 stars and Enchantra 5 stars. But like I said, I think that's an unpopular opinion. So take that with a pinch of salt. Definitely would recommend them both though. The next fantasy set that everyone is talking about is Powerless. Now I'm really hit and miss with this set, with this series, because I read Powerless, absolutely loved it, 5-star behaviour. Reckless is the next one, however I'm missing out on the novellas, but I'll talk about them later. Reckless is the next one. It was a filler book. It wasn't, I don't know, it just like nothing much happened in it the whole time. Was just kind of like being hunted, which for a romance girly as myself, there wasn't enough in it for me. So yeah, Reckless didn't do it for me. Fearless, however, did kind of bring it back a little bit. I did enjoy Fearless, however, Powerless was my favourite out of the set. And then you've got the novellas. So the first novella is Powerful, and I did really enjoy this one, I'm not gonna lie. It was really sweet. I really liked hearing the little side story. However, the new one that's just come out, which is Fearful, I hated it. I hated it, guys. There was this character in it and I was like, who is this? Like, who is this? Like, am I confused? And then it turns out that their character's death, and I was a bit confused. I didn't really get it. I didn't vibe, you know? So I can see why a lot of people like this series. However, it's not my favourite. But if you want to give it a go, give it a go. It was still good, but not my favourite, not the best. Another duology, The Crimson Moth. The Crimson Moth and the Rebel Witch. Oh my goodness, I absolutely Loved this series. I love this duology. I read The Crimson Moth. Well, I picked it up because I heard someone say that it's one of the best books they've read this year, and I was like, sold. Where do I pick it up? So I went and bought that straight away, and I loved it. I ate it up. It is basically about a witch and a witch hunter, and the witch is outplaying the witch hunter. Basically, the witch hunter doesn't know that she is a witch. Loved it. Loved every second of it. 5 stars. Going on to Rebel Witch. Still loved it. Not as much as The Crimson Moth though. I loved The Crimson Moth. But The Rebel Witch was a nice sort of like ending to the story. So it was definitely needed because The Crimson Moth does end on like a cliffhanger. So it's definitely needed, and I still enjoyed it, but The Crimson Moth was top tier for me. I absolutely loved it. Okay, let's talk about a new fantasy book that has come into the realm. Alchemized. Everyone and their mums and their dogs and their sisters are all talking about Alchemized. I knew nothing about this. I'd never heard of Manacled before. I had no idea what I was going into. I've seen everyone talking about Alchemized, and I also seen, because I am an absolute sucker for special editions, as you can see, and I seen the special edition on Waterstones, and it was their best selling book, like pre-order, for I want to say like a year, or it was quite a long time, quite a few months. It was #1 best selling, and it hadn't even come out yet. So I was like, do I need to invest? I did invest. And then it came to my door, and it's like, it's chunky. In fact, let me show you. All my books are falling over now. What is that? It's bigger than my face nearly. It came and I was like, wow, that is stunning, don't get me wrong, but, and then I checked how many pages it was. 1024. 1024 pages. So when it got delivered, I was like, beautiful, gonna check it on my shelf, probably gonna read that next year because however, I picked it up straight away because everyone was talking about it, as you probably already know. And again, I think I've got a really unpopular opinion here. However, I haven't read Manacled, which I believe this book is based off of another book that she has written called Manacled, which is a Harry Potter fanfic, I want to say, about Hermione and Draco like getting together. When I heard that this story was based off the Manacled version of this Harry Potter fanfic, I was slightly confused because there was nothing in this book that made me think of Harry Potter at all. I don't know, that could just be me. Not sure. I felt that there was a lot in this book that didn't need to be in this book. If you've read Manacled, you probably love it because it's more of the story. However, I felt that there didn't need to be a lot of it dragged. And don't get me wrong, as I said, I'm a romance girly. I got to the romance bit, which by the way was like, I don't know, 200 pages in, which that's a struggle for me. I'm a romance girly. 200 pages? Don't think so. So about 200 pages in, I'm like, okay, we're getting somewhere. There's a bit of romance in here somewhere. And then, just as it starts getting good, guys, goes back in time. Goes back in time 4 years. So we just get some romance, and then it's gone again. And then you got to build it all back up again. I don't know how I felt about that. If you like normal fantasy books without romance in it, then you'll probably love it because the world building was crazy. To be honest with you, I needed a thesaurus when I was reading it because I was so confused. It actually made me feel low-key stupid. It's a lot to do with like, well, it's alchemy, so it's to do with like metals and things, and yeah, it was slightly confusing for me. If you're someone who loves romance and you like fantasy but you're more of a romantasy person, which is me, I wouldn't recommend this book unless you've read Manacled and you loved Manacled. Then go for it anyway if you want to. But in my personal opinion, it didn't need to be 1,000 pages long. So I did rate it 4 stars. I still really enjoyed it. There were some bits that I absolutely loved. Although if you are thinking about reading it, check trigger warnings, because there was some interesting content in it, which I don't mind. I don't really get triggered by books, but I can imagine that for some people this could be quite triggering to read. So bear that in mind. It's definitely like a dark romantasy. Okay, the next series that I'm going to talk about is Caraval. I've actually got my special editions up here, but you can't see them, which is really, really sad. Should I angle it? You see with the carousel? Obviously I know that it's all blurred out. Actually don't really know why I bothered doing that. So, Caraval. What can I say about Caraval? It was okay. I found it really confusing because, hold on, let me take a sip. You get told that in Caraval, everything's a game. Don't trust what you see or what you hear or what you think, because everything's a game. Reading that, you're then like so lost, because you're like, well, is it a game? Is it real? I don't know. I was just kind of second guessing everything, which I guess is the point, but I was just a bit meh. I didn't know. I rated them all 4 stars. They were okay. Not my favourite. It's really hard, isn't it, to compare like books, because for example ACOTAR, which I'll go on to next. In fact, we'll go into ACOTAR now. ACOTAR, pick it up if you haven't already, because you probably have, because everyone's talking about it. In fact, it's probably old news now, to be honest. Everyone knows ACOTAR, and I loved ACOTAR. This was my first proper fantasy series, I would say. Obviously when I was younger I read like Twilight and The Hunger Games and things like that, but ACOTAR was my first adult fantasy, well, romantasy book, and to be honest I put them off for ages. First of all, the covers didn't really scream at me that they were going to be good, and also I didn't know if I'd like it. I don't know, like the whole like fae and fairies, and I was a bit like, I don't know if this is my cup of tea. However, I picked up ACOTAR, which is the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I loved it. I loved it, absolutely loved it. I started it, and it did take me a few chapters to get into it, if I'm honest, because they obviously talk about the background of the character before they get into the proper story and stuff, and I wasn't a massive fan. However, when it got to the romance, your girl's a romance girly, you know? If you know, you know. So, absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved Tamlin. I fell for that one, let's be honest. I don't want to give anything away, but you got a side-eye Tamlin. I don't know, I don't trust that guy. And as you read on, you'll know why. And then I picked up the second book, and my jaw was on the floor. Oh my god. A Court of Mist and Fury is a book that I will never forget. It is top tier for me. I loved every second of it. Do you know what? It was one of those series that I finished it, and it's the first time I've ever finished a series and I didn't want it to end, to the point where I said to my mum, I was like, you have to read these books. I am obsessed. And she, again, was like me and was like, I don't really know if it's my cup of tea. She was obsessed as well, by the way. But yeah, I lent my books to my mum. And I was upset that she had the books because I was like, I can't go back through them. And I've never felt like that. Like, I have all my books. It's very, very rare that I'll read a book and then pick it up again. Even ones I absolutely loved. So I got it on Audible. I had to download it on Audible. And then I was like listening to all the audiobooks as well because I just couldn't get enough of the story. So when I read another fantasy series like Caraval, for example, it's really hard to compare them because to me, ACOTAR was top tier. And I think a lot is going to struggle to like reach that level. So yeah, I feel like I am very generous in my ratings though, because out of 5 stars, I never really rate anything 1 or 2 stars unless like it is dire. 3 stars I'm like, didn't really enjoy it. 4 stars I'm like, it was okay, good bits. And then 5 stars like top tier. So the majority of my ratings are 4-star. Although to be honest, I love giving a 5-star as well. I'm a bit of a sucker, not gonna lie. So yeah, if you haven't read ACOTAR, please go read ACOTAR and come back to me and tell me how much you loved it. And if you hated it, then please don't tell me. Okay, the next series. Actually, this might be my last series to talk about because I'm looking at the time and I've already been talking for 19 minutes. That's probably quite a lot. So let's make this like a fantasy book talk edition because I actually didn't talk about any romance books. So the last fantasy books that I'm going to talk about is Fourth Wing. So my friend told me to read Fourth Wing because again, like ACOTAR, I looked at the cover and didn't really think much of it. It's not a cover that I'm like, oh, I like really like the look of that. So I picked it up because of my friend's recommendation, and I again really struggled to get into it, which I now realise I find that with all fantasy books, just trying to get into the world and understand the characters, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. So got into Fourth Wing, which by the way is about dragons and dragon riders, which is so cool, but again, didn't really know if that was my cup of tea. It got to the bit about dragons and like being matched with dragons and I was obsessed. I loved it. Like top tier, absolutely loved it. 5 stars. And then I went on to Iron Flame. I didn't enjoy it, guys, and I feel like that is an unpopular opinion and I feel like you guys are going to come for me in the comments, but as a romance girly, again, the female main character and the male main character spent majority of the book away from each other, and like they'd see each other and then they'd have to spend time apart and then see each other. Like I think they've seen each other, it was something like, is it once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever? And then when they seen each other, when they said goodbye to each other at the end of their like time together, I was like, oh, I know that there's not going to be any romance in the next few chapters. So I felt that I was just a bit like, I don't know, I wanted to skip it to get on to the next thing. I don't know. And then I got really excited for Onyx Storm to come out. Went to the midnight release party. Was really, really excited. I picked up that book and I questioned everything. I was like, have I even read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame? Because I was like, have I even read the other books? Because they were listing characters I'd never heard of. I was so confused. I was like, should I have reread the books before I went into this one? I really struggled with Onyx Storm. And again, I feel like that's an unpopular opinion because I feel like everyone loved Fourth Wing, but I was a bit like, I could take it or leave it. And I also felt like the ending of Onyx Storm was like the same ending as Iron Flame. So I was like, well, what was the point in Onyx Storm when the ending is like the same? I don't know, that's maybe an unpopular opinion. But anyway, if you've made it this far from me yapping, then gold star for you, because as I said, this is my first YouTube video and it's probably not going to be that great. I don't know, let's not go there. It's actually amazing. You should like and you should follow me if you want to. So yeah, my content is going to be based around books. I love books, anything romance, as you can tell. So follow me for more romance book content. I also love thrillers as well, so there could be a little thriller sprinkling every now and again. If you come from TikTok, comment a green heart. Thank you so much. Like, I hit 10,000 followers on TikTok the other day, and that is crazy to me, and I think that's what's pushed me to do YouTube. So let's see where it goes. Thank you for watching.